All right, so let's get into WrestleMania Night 1 now. Obviously, if you're tuning into the show here, we're recording this before Monday Night Raw, the Raw after Mania. So, take everything with a grain of salt of like, oh, this might happen. Or like, if somebody shows up or chaos ensues or whatever storylines are planted, everything right now is pre that knowledge. So I don't want to hear it. But Mania Night 1, just some small notes. Talk about ads. Lots of ads on this show. Man, WWE was making their money. We had the Prime logo in the center as we talked with Logan Paul and in the corner posts. Not going to lie, I didn't think it was all that bad. I think it definitely helped that it was a transparent Prime bottle and not that annoying red to blue gradient one. That definitely would have been more in your face, obstructive, and annoying. I didn't mind it here. They had some Prime bottles in the corner set up that constantly were getting smashed throughout the two nights. So I don't know what was going on there. But then the barriers had ads, almost one per match, at least night 2 for sure. And then the posts. Shout out to Dude Wipes. I don't know what happened, but you guys were on the posts for like most of the night. I don't know if that was a production error or just whatever it was. So lots of ads. I wouldn't say it was as bad as maybe when it first started, when the Cinnamon Toast Crunch guys were on there, and we're like, wow, this is something. Maybe it's just getting used to it. Can't think of the phrase, like numb to it. But just noticed every time, like, oh, that's a big banner for some drink or whatever product that they were doing. And then unfortunately did have a few production issues. This might have just been most prevalent in the tag team showcase match or the ladder match with the swapping of different teams. Sometimes video packages were playing for the wrong team. Luckily, none of the music was wrong, to my knowledge. So at least on that point, that was messed up. It seems like night 2, there were some nights with the stage, or not the stage, but the lighting around the apron area or the canopy area, which just seems like every year, at least once, something happens where there's a light shining in a part of the crowd's face that isn't supposed to. I don't know why it would happen night 2 when you already had night 1. Like, shouldn't you just be running back everything that already happened? Weird stuff. And also at this point, with doing these outdoor arenas, you wouldn't think it would be an issue, but something, small things, doesn't really affect anything. So let's jump into night 1's matches. First one to kick off, we did have Rhea Ripley defending the women's championship against Becky Lynch. Motionless in White singing out Rhea Ripley. I know this was obviously a cool moment for her. She's a big fan of the band. So cool to see that. I didn't really care for it. Lead guy, if you're going to sing, sing. If you're not going to sing, don't sing. It was just very awkward. But glad she had her moment. Apparently in the press conference, which I haven't watched yet, she said she had a panic attack just before going out there. So hope Rhea's okay. She did a great job that night along with Becky. These two put on a good match, a good opener. Crowd was very behind Rhea, as it seems like is the trend. Poor Becky. But Rhea did retain her Women's World Championship after a double riptide. He did have a riptide on the corner turnbuckle and then a riptide just in the ring. Interesting finish. I think it was good. I don't know if it was as good as the Charlotte match last year. I think everything was solid. It was just a little weird, the ending. The turnbuckle spot makes sense to me. I think it would have made more of an impact if at some point the turnbuckle cover had gotten taken off. That would have been more like, oh yeah, I can understand that hurts a lot. It was a weird bump onto there to then follow it up with another one, which makes sense. It seems like at least Mania time, everybody's got to hit 8 or more of their own finisher to really make it count. But both ladies did a great job there with Rhea retaining. So as we talked about with predictions, where does Rhea go from here? Who's going to be the next one to step up? Are they going to be leading into a draft where we get some more faces she hasn't fought yet onto the Raw roster? Time will tell. They haven't announced anything yet. I just know last year it was around this time because we had that weird backlash oh, the rosters are changed, but not for this pay-per-view. We'll do it the next one. Maybe the draft will not be an annual thing, and maybe it'll be in every few years. But if that's the case, who steps up? Who's fighting Rhea now? She's run through Nia. She's run through Becky. Trying to think of anybody else like in the upper echelon of the women's roster on Raw. And there's not many names that come to my head, but granted my memory is so there could be somebody glaringly obvious that I can't think of. We'll have to see. Does Becky take some time off? What's next for her as well, as she kind of did this whole grind back into it redemption thing from the NXT championship back to where she was, getting a redemption against Nia after 5 years or whatever it might be. We'll have to see. We'll have to keep an eye on that. Moving on to the second match, we had the tag team ladder match. We had DIY go against Awesome Truth, New Catch Republic, Judgment Day, Theory and Waller, and who was the other team? New Day. Sorry, guys. This were, like I said, the production thing came in a little weird spots there. We did have a fun DIY, still doing the DX thing, so they came out pretty much cosplaying as Triple H and Shawn Michaels. They had the little DX effects on the video stuff where DIY would keep popping up and different elements of the video package. So that was fun. You had New Day coming out as Apollo Creed and Rocky. Judgment Day came out as some like superhero villains. Don't know if it was Batman inspired. I know a lot of people were saying Finn looked like the Joker from the Nolanverse movies, while Damien just kind of had this spiky, toothed up mask. Match overall was fun. Obviously, it's that fun chaos of the ladder match and weapons involved. Some crazy bumps in here. We did have the rule in place where both sets of titles need to be pulled down in order for the match to conclude. So kind of seemed like we were splitting these things up, especially with the two different hanging holders, whatever you want to call them, like separating them and not all 4 belts on one. And they made that very clear when A-Town Down Under won the SmackDown titles. Like, here's your SmackDown champions. A little bit of an awkward lull after they got him. Like, why could Theory not just crawl over to the other ladder quickly and get the Raw titles? No, we had to celebrate. This led to Theory getting attacked. Grayson on top of the ladder gets pushed off into a bridged ladder outside, breaks that. He sells it, but still is able to hold on to the championship as he's laying there incapacitated, dead, whatever you want to say. We had JD McDonough attempt to make a save for the Judgment Day by interfering. He eventually got taken care of by a double table spot outside, or double table setup. R-Truth, being R-Truth, set up for the hot tag in a ladder match. Hilarious. Crowd was very behind that. Got the hot tag, beat up Judgment Day there to save The Miz. We had a slingshot DDT on Pete Dunne from Johnny Gargano. Holy shit. On a table, or rather through a table outside. Looked absolutely insane. But Judgment Day would set up for the win here as Priest was going to go up top. Jessica Carr looking out for the superstars, the wrestlers, tried to notify, like, Damien, the ladder is broken, as one of the legs was kind of a little wobbly, so that was a little scary. He said, nope, I'm going up. Miz decided to go up on the other side, took a kind of South of Heaven chokeslam off of that. R-Truth rolls in a new ladder, takes care of Priest, gets him with an AA, an attitude adjustment, of course, from his favorite superstar, John Cena. And Truth goes up, claims the Raw Tag Team titles for Awesome Truth. So Awesome Truth, new tag team champions there. Obviously, A-Town Down Under for the SmackDown titles. So now those are split. We can keep the momentum going with our tag team division on each of the shows. I think Undisputed Tag Titles were a fine idea for a while. I think they did okay of bouncing them around. Obviously, Raw, with Judgment Day being on Monday Night Raw, got a little bit more time with them and more storylines, or rather matches with them in comparison to SmackDown. So now to have those separate, it seems like we have a decent amount of tag teams on both shows. So hopefully we can keep the momentum going, keep building up tag team wrestling, making it more, popular and popular. and go from there. So, congrats to them. Good match. Maybe not the last we see in the Judgment Day. Next match, speaking of tag teams, we had Rey and Andrade against Santos Escobar and Dirty Dom Mysterio. It was okay. I mean, we got a few fun spots. LWO obviously came out with the good guys. Legado came out with Santos and Dom. Just chaos. Zelina took out Elektra at one point with the moonsault. Legado and LWO got in a little altercation. Joaquin Wilde gets launched, which was great that he keeps doing that spot for some distance. And then we got interference, but not by Bad Bunny, not by Dragon Lee, but by NFL players. The retired Jason Kelsey and the other guy in Rey Mysterio masks randomly just took a chair away from Dom and beat him up and then tossed him in. And I think Andrade hit Santos with his like corkscrew suplex thing, and Rey did 619 splash. And that was it. It wasn't that great. Just kind of started, was going, we were building, and then it just abruptly ended, similar to the Stand and Deliver match with Thea. Just like, oh, who are these schmucks? And then it's over. Weird there. My biggest gripe with this match, it's nothing against the competitors in it. Obviously, they all did a great job. It's just the stupid swerve with Dragon Lee getting hurt. Like, bringing him in, announcing him as a partner on Friday, to then just have Andrade come in here and be like, oh, I'll be your partner, and actually reveal himself to be a face. Obviously, he's got the history with Zelina, so that's fine. But he's on Raw, so like this is a short-term thing that wasn't going to go anywhere. I guess he'll feud with Judgment Day and maybe have a feud with Dom now. But yeah, I was just like, that sucks for Dragon Lee. This was a great debut year for him, or rather this calendar year would have been a great one. Debuting at Stand and Deliver NXT last year to then go to Mania the next year would have been cool, but not the case. And then, I don't know if Bad Bunny just wasn't free. I know everybody was clamoring, like, there's a gap in his tour schedule. He could be there for night 2. And then we did this night 1. So, is what it is. We all got a little too excited. Maybe. But yeah, it was fine. Nothing great. What's up? Oh, I thought Lady said something.
I got too excited.
Yeah, well, that was my fault, too. Been like, whoa, it's going to happen. And then Dragon Lee, which we like Dragon Lee, but not as much as Bad Bunny, I guess. And also no Carlito heel turn. We got alluded to that on Friday with a little bit of side eye and like, oh, Andrade's your teammate now. But Carlito's staying the course, staying a good guy, so we'll see. Then it was Yeet versus No Yeet, brother versus brother. It was Jey Uso versus Jimmy Uso. Super kick party here. Probably 75% to 80% all super kicks. We had a bad Samoan drop at the beginning. The guys did fine. It just didn't have too much substance, really, I would say. And I felt like this was the same for a few matches where we built up this feud where all this tension and like violence dished out to certain participants. And then when we get to the actual match itself, it's like a reset button hit. And it's just like wrestling. There was no like energy, animosity, anger behind some of these matches. And this is one I felt could have used a little bit more. I get it a little bit, or I can forgive it a little bit more with this match because, you know, the sibling rivalry, obviously being twins, like you don't want to beat up your sibling and your brother. You want them to, you know, you want to be healthy and have a good relationship with them and be together and all that stuff. So from a face perspective, I could see why Jey would still have that hesitation. However, he's given Jimmy a lot of chances here. Jimmy cost him the Universal Championship. Jimmy cost him the Intercontinental Championship. Like, Jimmy's the one going out of his way to poke the bear here. While Jey did his own thing, went to Monday Night Raw, and has just been chilling there being main event Oos, you know, doing the whole bip and bob there. So, I don't know. That was maybe something that it was lacking. There could have been some more there. Jimmy at one point did try to apologize. Jey obviously letting the guard down. Jimmy tried to take advantage of it, but Jey with a spear and I think it was just the spear. I don't know if he did a splash as well, but Jay would come out the winner here, the victor, defeating his brother, taking a little bit out of the bloodline. And then the only other dumb thing I'll say about this match, Lil Wayne did nothing. I thought he was supposed to debut a new single here. He just went, habada, 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 ha. And then Jay came out, and then he just kind of followed him down. Stupid. Anyways, moving on to Damage Control versus the Big Three, Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair, and Naomi. I will say the entrance was cool to start for the Big Three, the good guys. But my advice, just stick with one theme. It was not worth it to do 10 seconds of Jade's, then 10 seconds of Naomi's, and then Bianca's the rest of the way. Naomi's got to build to her song. She barely got to the drop where she's dancing with the glow. So it just cut her off. And it was dumb. You could have just done, the elevator thing with all three of them looking badass. Have Bianca's theme kick as she seems to be the leader, at least right now. If this group even continues after this. Just do that, go down, do the match, whatever. Ladies did fine, but yeah, nothing once again that really stuck out, and maybe this is just me being begrudging, or, sourpuss. I don't know. For some reason, just a lot of matches didn't stick out as oh, that was amazing, or anything to walk away from. Not in a bad way. Like I said, nothing went wrong. Nobody did anything wrong. Just the excitement level wasn't super there. I did appreciate Asuka and Kairi dancing to Bianca's music, as they didn't even care, but they were just over there dancing around as they were coming down the ramp. Eventually, the good guys would win this, I believe, as each of the ladies did hit their finish. On the others, Asuka did spray Kairi with the mist accidentally earlier prior to that finish. But yeah, good guy team win. Not a surprise there. You're debuting Jade. Duh. You're not going to have her lose. Bianca keeps her WrestleMania streak, so eventually maybe we can bring that into a story. Keep that going. And hey, Naomi did something. Hopefully we can keep the ball rolling with them. Not that I don't like Damage Control. I actually love Damage Control. They need some wins too. But this one seemed pretty shut and, case closed of what the result was going to be. All right, and then we got into I think this was one we talked about with our prediction show of being unpredictable, or one of those ones I'm I have no idea who's going to win this one. We had the Intercontinental Championship match. We had Gunther defending against Sami Zayn. Sami heading to the ring did see his family, his wife and son, talk to them, saw Chad Gable, and also saw his best buddy Kevin Owens up front, over by gorilla position, kind of pep talking him going out there. Sami took a beating here. Gunther just laying in the power bombs, laying in the chops, splashes, kicking ass. And then Sami did the whole resurrection spot he did on Monday before getting taken out with the title. He's too tough. He'll fight out of it. He'll recover. Sami hits a corner brainbuster, which we haven't seen a while on Gunther. Follows up with the haluva kick, and 1, 2, 3. Sami does win the IC title, beats Gunther's 666-day reign, ends that, and wins the title for himself. Getting a little redemption from, just all the losses he's taken recently. Overall match was good. I wasn't a big fan of the huge momentum swing of Gunther murdering Sami and taunting his wife and be he's a piece of crap, and then Sami just to turn it around like that. I get it. I understand. I felt like Sami should have pulled more out of his bag of tricks to go all out against Gunther. Obviously, we saw the corner brainbuster. That was awesome to see. We haven't seen that in quite some time. I thought there would have been more of that, akin to when Sami was going against Roman in Montreal for the Universal Championship. We saw Sami attempt to do that dive through the corner ropes DDT, and Roman, having history with him or doing his research, saw it coming and reversed it. I thought it wouldn't have been dope. We see the typical Sami dive, the big spread eagle dive. We see that. We see the corner DDT, and we see that hit. People haven't seen that get hit in years. Whether he's attempted it or it's been a successful attempt, not by botch standings, just it's been reversed. and then to do the corner brainbuster, like just pull everything out, make it like Sammy is putting everything he has into this match. I felt like that would have added a little bit more to it to bring out, quote unquote, the old Sami Zayn. That would have been a little extra added layer to it. But I was conflicted because Sammy does do a great promo being that underdog. I don't think he's been here, done that, so it doesn't feel as huge of a moment, I think, in some ways, because he's already gotten the IC title. He should be really in the world title picture. We're in a rough spot right now, potentially. So IC title, just didn't feel as rewarding to me, knowing his history. But Gunther gets taken down. Gunther's been obviously doing a great job with the IC title, building up the streak that he's had for holding this almost 2 years, which is nuts. Intrigued to see what his next steps are. It seems like Sammy and Chad will potentially have an IC title match down the line as the favor being returned, which obviously they'll put on a great match, and they put on that short one on Monday Night Raw when Sammy's already kind of beaten up a little bit. So to have him more healthy should be good. It was conflicting. Like, I wanted Gunther to keep it, potentially the Ilya stuff, but that's not happening right now. And then just to give someone else that lift compared to a Sammy. Not that Sammy doesn't deserve it. He's just already been there and had those successful moments, even just circling back to WrestleMania of last year with the tag titles and the main event, taking down the Bloodline there, getting his revenge there with Kevin Owens. You could have had someone else, I feel, fill this spot. And Chad was somebody we were talking about beforehand. He's had this weird, he was there in the picture. He almost beat him. The kids got, obviously upset with his loss. Then he went into obscurity as Alpha Academy was doing their own thing. Then he comes back now for the IC qualifier, beat the gauntlet match. Fails there. Then we're like, uh-oh, is he pissed? I'm going to turn heel. Nope, he's going to do a Rocky training montage with Sammy, but he's not going to be the one to do it. I think Chad would have benefited more from this moment. Ricochet would have benefited more from this moment of, getting back his title he lost from Gunther. Obviously, he's on a different show, so that throws a little bit of a wrench into that. It might have helped elevate someone better here than Sammy. That's my only gripe. Nothing against Sammy. They did great. Could have done a little bit more extra. Throw some more spice and flavoring into it. But it is what it is. So I'll have to keep an eye on this picture. Bronson Reed, this is your time. Get him in there. We'll have to see the follow-up from that. And then we headed into the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania. We had the Killers in the Jungle, The Rock and Roman Reigns taking on Cody Rhodes and Seth frickin' Rollins. This match was slow and methodical. You built it up perfectly with the anticipation for Rock coming in there. You had all the different dynamics playing out with each other with Cody versus Rock, Seth versus Rock, Seth versus Roman, Cody versus Roman. You had all those integrations there. This is one similar to the Jay and Jimmy match. I felt like should have been more of a brawl and not a tag team match. We got elements of it where at some point they did go out into the crowd. You had a little bit of a picture-in-picture, which I did appreciate that they were showing both angles. But then they're like, nah, let's focus on Dwayne. Let's give him the shot. So they're brawling in the crowd for a little bit. And then they just went back to a normal tag team match after. That was silly. That was stupid. Should have just, if you're going to start the normal tag, go into chaos, go chaos mode. You don't have to do, obviously, the full thing of the Bloodline rules of potentially night 2, but just go at it. And I feel like this match should have had more of that aggressive side to it, especially from our heel, well, actually both sides of our characters, with the heels beating the crap out of Cody and Seth these past few weeks with, taking Cody, beating him out in the rain and making him bleed by the bus, whipping both of them with the weight belts. These guys should have been pissed and motivated. And then just to go in there, lock up, arm drag, elbow to, like, just typical wrestling match. Seemed weird. And I get it, like, before The Rock was like, oh, I'm on the board. You'll get fired, ref, if you count us out, blah, blah, blah. Like, before that, the good guys just know, oh, this is a normal match. Maybe they're holding that back. But at some point, they have to cut loose and be like, we're fucking pissed. And we need to stop these guys to try and not have, you know, the Bloodline Rules Night 2. It didn't really feel like they had that aggressive side pulled out of them for what they received. And I don't know if that's just supposed to be the good guy flavoring on them, like the righteousness. But I thought that was missing. So, like I said, once again, the match is very slow and methodical. It kind of picked up towards the end. At one point, Roman did spear The Rock accidentally, as Seth did save Cody from taking that blow. I thought The Rock did well, surprisingly, for his first match back and doing a decent length match. Granted, tag team, but still. Didn't look like he missed a beat. Excuse me. Weirdly, no Solo Sikoa at all. Just did show. Ooh, excuse me, hiccups now. Eventually, The Rock would hit the rock bottom on Cody after nailing Cody with a weight belt as he was trying to crossroads Roman Reigns one more time. So Rock would hit the weight belt, get in there, rock bottom Cody, hit with the people's elbow. Killers in the Jungle would win as Rock would pick up the pin off of Cody. So Bloodline Rules for WrestleMania Night 2. So yeah, Night 1 overall, I say it was solid. It was fine. Like I said, nothing really stood out to me of like, oh, that was amazing, as I was kind of anticipating Night 1 a little bit more than Night 2, especially the tag team ladder match I was looking forward to. Granted, chaos element makes sense, and a lot of the matches kind of were calling out to me more than what I thought Night 2's were. Rhea and Becky, the tag team ladder match, obviously the tag title main event, or not the tag title, the tag team main event, the IC title, and it was fine. It was fine. I enjoyed it. Just once again, nothing blew up in my face.